Hello everyone, my name is Rachel, one of the Porsche pros here at Porsche Centre Chester, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about the 718 Boxster and Cayman, show you some of the controls to get to know your car a little bit better. So with your car comes two keys, one will be in your document box and the other one with the car, and it also comes with two VTS fobs as well for tracking the car. On the key you'll see it has 4 different buttons. The top one is to unlock the car, the next one down is to lock the car, and then the next 2 is for the front and the rear boot to open them. Okay, so as you can see, when you press the lock button, the mirrors fold in if you hold that down, and then if you keep holding it down, the roof itself will close. Just under the front boot of the car, you're able to top up the washer screen fluid, and this is located on the passenger side with a blue cap, and you're able to top it up from here. Inside the boot, on both sides, left and right, are the toolkits for the car, and in the centre here is your warning triangle in case you need it. So in the rear boot of the car, as you can see on the left hand side here, this is where you can top your oil up. Once you've checked the measurement on the dash and it does require oil, obviously please fill it up from here. On the right hand side there is the coolant filler cap. Please don't open this if obviously the car is hot, as there is a lot of pressure inside the car and you may end up burning yourself, so we wouldn't advise opening this unless the car is cold. So next we're going to go through the PCM screen. As you can see here, if you click the home button when you turn the vehicle on, it comes up with these icons here, and this is one of the easiest ways to get around the system. There are also buttons below here that link to some of the options here, which I will go through as we go along. So on the home screen here, you can see the first one is the tuner. This is your radio station. By clicking the tuner button just here, you can change from FM to AM to DAB radio. As you can see here, we've got some presets already set into the car. You can go through the list of radio stations here, and you're able to see all the different radio stations. If you wanted to save one as a preset, if you click onto it, download it, and then pop it into the preset, you can see on your presets it is stored here for you, nice and easy. You can also set your traffic announcements on and off by ticking this box here, and there are also some details of the radio station there to tell you about it and some more information. This button in the middle is for the EPG, the electronic program guide. This gives you some information of what's on the radio station, so just gives you that little bit more information on what you're listening to. And again, obviously you can go back, listen to all your different options, and that is the tuner and the radios for you. Going back to the home screen, you can also go on to the media. This is where it'll show where the phone is connected to Bluetooth, which I'll do in just a second. It'll also show obviously what you're listening to and that. So going back to the home screen, click on phone. This is going to be to show how you pair your phone. I'm just going to connect mine now for you. If you make sure that your Bluetooth is on your phone so it's able to pair, if you click connect phone and it has found my iPhone, click accept, make sure the pairing number on your phone is the same as the one shown on screen, and click pair, and then it will also come up with a message to allow contacts and favourites to sync. If you want this to be done, please click allow. On here the phone is now connected. You can see you've got your keypad to be able to put in phone numbers and dial straight from the car. You can look at your previous calls, and you can also look at your contacts. So you're able to make calls and obviously take calls from now onwards. So now your phone's connected via Bluetooth. Going back to media, like I explained before, you can then see the music and obviously your songs that you've got via Bluetooth. I've got mine playing through Spotify, so you're able to do that, and also connect if you've got Apple Music as well, so you can obviously see and change the songs, skip, and also shuffle your playlist as well here. So going back to the home screen, next I'm going to go through the sat-nav navigation and give you a brief overview about this. Clicking onto nav here, you can see you can pop your destination input into here. So if you just pop your postcode in of the destination that you want to go to, I'm just putting our centre postcode in just for reference. If you click search on here, you can save the destination to make it one of your favourites if you go there quite a lot, and you can also press start, and obviously this starts the route. It's calculating the fastest route to your destination. There we go, and obviously you can see on your map here. Now some options that you can go into, if you click the tiles that are just here, what we would advise with the subscription when you buy a new car, obviously comes the use of Google Earth. So if you click 3D, and you can also use the satellite map, it gives you a better view of the road, and you can also see the surrounding area to obviously pinpoint locations. Obviously we would recommend turning those on for you. There we go. If you click the back button, you can see here, and you can obviously favourite your destinations. You can change the route, change different route options according to what you wish to do. And you can also look at the traffic notices that are available as well. So that is the overview of the sat-nav navigation for you. Clicking back onto the home screen, you can also go straight onto the map without obviously putting a postcode in, and that brings up the current area that you're in at the moment. And then going back to the home screen again, here are the sound options. So you can change obviously the sound options for playing your music, all here, changing that, your Bose system, and also the volume as well. Going back to the home screen again, you can choose to go into the icon for apps. Now this gives you access to a range of different things. So for example, parking, you can click onto here and you can search by nearby, at destination, or another location. So if you click on nearby, this shows you all the closest parking areas that you can go to. So if we click on one at Cheshire Oaks, you can see it brings up the map to show whereabouts the parking is. It enables you from here onwards to obviously start, to be able to pop that into the sat nav, and it will take you to that destination where the car parking is. You can save it for later if it's something that you're going to drive to later, and you can also read it out loud to obviously give you the information while you're driving if need be. If you click back, it goes back to obviously this menu here, so you can see the latest fuel prices, you can look at the weather in the local area. So if you click onto it, it gives you the times of the day and obviously what the weather's going to be like, and then it gives you a brief overview of the current weather in the area. Again, back onto here, you can see obviously there's more icons to look at the news, so you can read the latest news stories. You can look at train times, flights, and Twitter, and lots of different apps obviously to be able to use in the car. Going back to the home screen, the last option on here is for the car. So in here you've got all your vehicle settings, so you can change the lights, the wipers, and visibility, the lock-in and unlocking, the air conditioning. Going back onto that menu, you can configure your time and date from here. So it's a question that we get quite a lot, of how to change the date and time on the vehicles. So if you just go into there, click date and time, it should be automatically set as GMT. So it automatically changes the time for you, and you can change the time and the date format on here as well if you wish to. There we go. Going back onto that screen, obviously you can change a lot of different settings on the car. You can change obviously the PCM screen and the brightness. There we go. On here you can also change the park assist, and you can see obviously where the locations are. This will come on automatically while reversing, but it's something you can see from the PCM screen as well. There we go, and that is a brief overview of the PCM. Next I'm going to talk to you about all the features on the centre console. So to start with, we're going to talk about how to change the air conditioning and all the features of this. So as you can see at the top here, on both the passenger and the driver side is temperature controls. This may be a little bit different to the cars you've had previously, as this car has 2-zone climate control, which allows you to change the temperatures on both the driver and the passenger side at different temperatures. So moving it up and down, you're able to change the temperature. The 2 buttons beside the passenger temperature here is the AC to turn on the air conditioning, and also there is a button for AC max. This overrides the controls and obviously puts it at the maximum for you. On the driver side you can see there's also a button for the auto sync. This syncs obviously the temperature and the fan speed on the car. If you hold it down, you are able to just use the climate control from the driver side for you. Below here you can see that we've got the fan option, so this is how you change your fan speed. You can turn it up and down to what suits you. If you turn it all the way down, it does turn it off, so if you don't want any air conditioning on, that is not a problem, just turn it all the way down. Next I'm going to go through all the option buttons here. So as you can see, the first button just here is for the heat to go up to the windscreen. So this obviously, if you need your windscreen demisting, that is the button for you. The next button is for the air recirculation, and then obviously this is for the back windscreen as well. Now this car also has heated seats, so it has a button here for the passenger seat. It has 3 different options, so you're able to click it to obviously the highest heat or the lowest heat, same on the driver side over here. And the buttons above here for the heated seats, this shows obviously where the ventilation and the air is going to go. So if you would like it onto your feet, to your face, or obviously up above, obviously this is where you do the options from there. Below the climate control you can see here that you've got the gear selector. This car features the PDK gearbox, whereas obviously some of the other cars that it's option available for a manual gearbox. So I'm just going to go through the PDK one just to show you some of the features. By just pulling down on the gear stick and pressing the button at the top, you can pull it down into the gear selector modes. So you've got your parking, your reverse, your neutral and drive, like most automatic gearboxes. However, this one obviously offers the availability to go into manual mode. So when you're in drive, if you push the gear selector to the left, you're able to go up and down gears by obviously changing it up and down from here. Below this, obviously you can see that you've got your hazard lights. If you ever need them, this is the position of them, and then to the right of it is also the lock button, so you're able to lock the doors from inside the vehicle and obviously unlock. Below this, there are some other options that have been added onto this car. So you've got your PASM, so you can turn it on and off to change obviously the rides and the dampeners on the car. Below that is the stability control. You can turn it on and off by pressing this button. And on this side, you've got your spoiler to move the spoiler up and down, to pop the sports exhaust on, and you can also change if you would like the automatic stop-start to be on or off. You can choose it from this button. Now in the centre, you've got the option, obviously this is a Boxster, so it has the cabriolet roof. So you can open and close it from these buttons here by pulling up on each of them. Below the buttons for closing and opening the cabriolet roof, you can see here there's a panel. If you just pop it in, below it is an ashtray and your 12-volt socket, which is a nice little addition to the car, and it's nice and hidden away just below that panel. Behind that is the armrest. There's a button on the driver's side just to pop in. And in here is your USB socket as well, and some storage space. So now I'm going to go through some of the features of the steering wheel. There are obviously buttons on either side of the steering wheel on the left and right side. On the left hand side you can see here there is a scroll wheel. This is to change the volume up and down, so you can move the scroll wheel up and down to change the volume. Next to it you can see there's a phone button. This is to answer the calls that come through to the car, and below here is a configurable button to choose as a favourite, so you can do things such as next in a song or add in a feature to this button to make it easier to access. This is configurable from the dash, which we'll show you a little bit later. On the other side you can see there's a scroll wheel here which you can move up and down, which changes the dash settings behind just here that we will go through in a second. Next to here is the option to obviously disconnect the call, and below is to go back. So this is the back for the dash on here when you change in the settings. Below that is your sports chrono. So obviously at the moment it is in normal mode. If you turn the scroll wheel to the side, it changes to sport. Turn it round to sport plus, and then you can change it to individual mode. The button in the center is for the sports response, so you can press this in and it gives you the sports response to be able to overtake a vehicle and different things. Then the last button on the steering wheel is for the heated steering wheel. Some cars may not have this option, but this one does. The button is just inside this part of the steering wheel here, and you can click it to turn it on and click it to turn it off. Behind the steering wheel, as you can see, there are paddles. This is only available on the PDK transmission. On the left hand side you're able to go down the gears, and on the right hand side you're able to go up the gears. Behind these are some other options. So on the left hand side is the indicator stalk, and obviously the lights for the main beam and the flash. And on the end of this stick is also the voice control. So if you hold this in, you can then obviously ask it to go to a destination or send a text. It's able to do that from there. Below this stick is for the cruise control. You're able to set the cruise control by pressing the button on the end of the stick, and then obviously move it forwards and backwards to change the speed and turn it off by pushing the stick down. To the right of the steering wheel is your options for the windscreen, for the wipers to change the speed, and obviously use the washer jets as well. So, on the right hand side of the steering wheel is the scroll wheel to change the display on the dash of the car, as you can see behind us. At the top you can see your fuel gauge and the mileage, and below is some vehicle information. If you press the scroll wheel in, you can check certain options on the car, such as the oil measurement. So if you click into that, you're able to see it. And then if you click the back button, you can go into other settings. As I explained before, on the other side of the steering wheel is an individual button. To change this, you're able to go into the settings, scroll down to individual, and you can then set that button to go into sports plus, put your sports exhaust on, and change the spoiler, etc. To go back to the main menu, as you can see here, just keep pressing the back button until you get back to it. Not only this screen is what you can see. If you go down the scroll wheel, you can change it to what you're currently listening to on the radio. Scroll down again, you can pop a small version of the map there as well. You can also pop the navigation, so it shows you the directions. Scroll down again, it shows you the trip. So it gives you some information there of the current trip. Below that is tyre pressure monitoring, and this will activate once the car is moving, so you can check the tyre pressures from there. This part is for the sports chrono, so you can start the clock from here. You've got your G-force screen, the speed limit screen, and then back to the vehicle settings. To the right of the steering wheel, you can see here that you've got your lights functions here, so you can turn it round to change your light functions, and below here is the parking brake that you pop on and off. Yeah, that was alright. It'll do. Next, front and back boot, and then we're done. Right. So inside the door sill, you can see here that there are buttons to also open the front boot and the rear boot. You just pull them up and it will open them. Obviously you can do this from the key and you can do this from inside the car as well. So as you can see on the driver door panel here, there's a couple of different buttons and features of the car. The top one at the top here is to open and close the wing mirrors. So if you press it in, it closes the wing mirrors, and you can press it again and it'll put them out. Below this is the settings for altering the wing mirrors, so you can choose whether you'd like to change the passenger or the driver mirror, and then use this keypad here with the arrows on to obviously change the direction of the mirror to make it suit you in your driving position. Below this is the buttons for changing the windows, so obviously this is the passenger and the driver window. Pull the button up to pull the windows up and push it down to put the windows down.